G'day Whovians, and welcome to the final episode of Who Review for this season of Doctor Who. In this episode, I'm going to be discussing the final episode of the season, which is titled Empire of Death. Before I jump into my review though, make sure that you do leave a like and subscribe down below so you don't miss the next series of Who Review. And of course, for this final episode, spoilers.
Spoilers.
So, before watching this story, I hadn't been this excited for Doctor Who in a very, very long time. But, did it live up to the hype? Yes and no. This episode kicked off immediately from where we were left in part 1 in The Legend of Ruby Sunday, and immediately we started seeing Sutek's slaves, I guess you can call them, killing people, and you know what? Brilliant. I loved it. It made me terrified, it made me nervous for what was to come in this story, and it made the threat of Sutek seem so real and so, just so scary. The whole sequence of the Doctor and Mel on a motorbike, I loved. I really wish we saw more of these two scooting around. I thought that was really cool. The whole sequence of the sand descending on London, I thought was brilliant, and it looked brilliant as well. The special effects were fantastic, and seeing the panic and the chaos that Sutek brought to the world was fantastic. Seeing everyone being wiped out, Kate and the unit team, Carla, Mrs. Flood, Cherry, again, I was terrified. An appearance by the Fourth Doctor and Sarah Jane wasn't something that I expected, but it was really lovely, and it was lovely for that little moment as well. I thought that was great. Also, Susan. Susan. I love Susan. It was really lovely seeing the memory TARDIS in this story. We've seen it in Tales of the TARDIS with previous Doctors and companions, but to see it actually being used, I thought was really, really good. And we got a closer look at the memory TARDIS, and I thought that was wonderful. All of the little references, and seeing Mel so happy to see her Doctor's coat, that made my heart so full. That was really great. Now, I don't really like the idea that Sutek has been clinging onto the TARDIS since the Fourth Doctor's era. That's what was implied, and I don't know. That just feels like, I don't know, such a silly explanation. I don't know, it seems far-fetched, even for Doctor Who. The Doctor and Ruby and Mel as a TARDIS trio, I thought was wonderful. I definitely want a series of those three travelling the universe together, or honestly, I just want a series of the Doctor and Mel travelling again. Like, it's been such a fantastic, such a heartwarming experience having Mel back as a character in Doctor Who. I've loved it. So I really hope this isn't the last time we see her. Now, Ncuti in this story was the icing on the cake for me. He has been brilliant throughout the entire series. However, this was on a whole different level. He was just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Now, the woman on the planet that the Doctor spoke to, who is credited as the Kind Woman, I think she's credited as, she kept speaking of a man that passed through. But who exactly was she speaking about? Like, who was that man? I thought the whole idea of the TARDIS connecting with Ruby's memories was really clever, and I thought it was done rather well. Sutek using Mel as a sort of vessel was really unnerving, and honestly it made me really nervous for her. I genuinely thought that we might actually lose Mel. Thankfully not. Ruby sharing the name of her mother, oh man, I was on the edge of my seat. What was her name? I was shaking. I was anticipating this huge kind of reveal. What could it be? And then smash. God damn it, Ruby. The Doctor controlling the TARDIS via a whistle, brilliant. The Doctor and Ruby leashing up Sutek like a dog, brilliant. Dragging Sutek through the time vortex, brilliant. This whole sequence was action-packed. It was great, mixed with 15's action theme. I thought it was fantastic. However, I do think that it was too quick of a way to get rid of such a huge villain like Sutek. so I didn't really like that it was over just like that. It felt too quick and too easy, and I feel like it should have been more of a battle to take down something like Sutek. Now, the reveal of Ruby's mother, oh my god, let's just get on with it. The reveal was disappointing. All of that build up for a character that turned out to be no one. Absolutely no one. That was really, really disappointing. And yes, people will say,
you shouldn't have got your hopes up.
And you're right, I probably shouldn't have gotten my hopes up. But it was being built up as something huge, to be some sort of huge reveal, and then it was just nothing. I was really disappointed by that. Now, the ending of this whole season I thought was rather lovely. The Doctor leaving Ruby behind for her family. Although that's not the last time that we'll see Ruby, as we all know. And look, as much as I loved the look of Sutek, I really would have loved to have seen his original form from the Pyramids of Mars. Maybe just like a little glitter of that, him sort of, shifting between forms to kind of terrorize the Doctor. I don't know. Nevertheless, he was terrifying, and I did think he looked fantastic. Now, we had a different sort of ending with Mrs. Flood. We had Mrs. Flood wrapping up the story, and like, what? A complete fourth wall break, dressed in, I don't even know what she was dressed in. If anything, I honestly thought that she looked very similarly dressed to Romana. But again, who is she? Empire of Death felt like the end. It felt like such an intense, epic, terrifying series finale, and I thought it was really well done, with some aspects that were either not needed or just didn't make sense. The overall story did take its time throughout the episode, so it was rather slow, but I thought it worked quite well. And this was a story that everyone devised so many theories about, and I think people will get very disappointed based on the failings of their own expectations. This is a story that is definitely going to divide people, but we'll see. Nevertheless, I did enjoy this story, but not as much as I wanted to. Empire of Death, 7 out of 10. So the Doctor will be back at Christmas time, and so will Who Review. I will be back reviewing this year's Christmas special, so you guys can look out for the Christmas special edition of Who Review later this year. But I hope you enjoyed season 1 of Doctor Who, and let me know what you thought of Empire of Death down below in the comments.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the Whovian Commonly YouTube channel. Cool.